Welcome to Last Week in Science flavored bagels of interesting findings that came out in the last week and specially curated for an audience who love to know all about science. You will get a flavor of fatty food like a milkshake from the perspective of neuroscience, the discovery of what could be an extremophile and can help humans to survive at high altitudes at the high range of Mount Everest, and the findings of the first malaria vaccine that was approved 4 years ago. For ice cream and milkshakes, most of us crave, even after knowing the stakes. Fatty foods hold a unique place in our brains. In a recent study, volunteers were given milkshakes with varying levels of fat and were asked to indicate how much they would be willing to pay for a glass of each of those milkshakes. The study revealed that the brain region responsible for processing rewards showed increased activity when participants consumed high-fat shakes. However, given our understanding of the genuine cravings for both sugar and fat, what novel insights did their findings provide? The researchers assessed the texture of the milkshakes, which involved using pig tongues, a detail that can be omitted. They discovered that it was the smoothness, especially the increase in smoothness with the higher fat content, that influenced the preference for high-fat milkshakes. A blind experiment was also done where the volunteers were not aware of quantifying the oil-rich gravies that was served to them and then comparing with the fat content of the milkshake. Now, this study has implications for people who have been prescribed low-fat diet and their taste buds resist to that diet. To where only a few birds fly by, organisms that survive are extremophiles. Humans struggle to thrive at altitudes higher than 2,000 to 3,000 meters above sea level. Mountaineers often require several months to acclimate to high altitude conditions of mountains like Mount Everest, which has a peak height of 8,000 meters. In a remarkable discovery, well-preserved remains of a mouse were unearthed at an astonishing altitude of 6,000 meters. Initially met with skepticism, this observation gained credibility as additional mouse remains were subsequently found. The potential for mammals such as mice to endure oxygen and food-deprived environments holds promise of broadening our knowledge of surviving in extreme climatic conditions, thus opening up avenues for humans to inhabit places which have been unreachable so far. In the ambers, it was first mined, one disease to save from the other. We now have a vaccine to save the child. Malaria, a mosquito-borne disease, has been a global health concern since ancient times. Infections were particularly prevalent in the African continent until recently. In 2019, the first malaria vaccine was rolled out, known as RTS or Mosquirix, was approved for use in Africa. And after 4 years of this implementation, the vaccine has demonstrated a remarkable reduction in early childhood mortality and a decrease in severe malaria cases among children who received the full 3-dose regimen. So, Mosquirix has the potential of eradicating malaria from the African subcontinent. We look forward to promising results from a mass-scale implementation of the vaccination program for malaria. So, Science Bagels will be back next week to provide you bagels of interesting findings of the last week.